Hanging out with Wade Bowen, celebrating 15 years as a Texas singer-songwriter. But thanks for the time today, man. It's always good to see you.
My pleasure, man.
How's this year been celebrating 15?
Makes me feel old a little bit, but it's been a lot of fun. It's been fun to think back on all the times, all the things that we've been doing over the years, and it's funny. It's like people ask me all the time, what advice can you give to younger people and all this stuff, you know? And it's funny because I've actually been started responding, going, after 15 years of doing it, I look back and go, just enjoy the early days, the struggle, the part of it, because that, looking back after 15 years of it all, that was really the most fun for me. Probably it was just hopping in a truck at first, and then it was a van. We were like thought we were big time because we upgraded to a van, and just we were real close. And I don't know, it just something about that early struggle was a lot of fun. I called Stubbs Barbecue in Lubbock when I started playing. I started a band, literally the whole thing you always hear. I met some friends, got in a garage and started a band.
Is that what you did?
Yes, and I was in college in Lubbock at the time, and we literally threw together like 6, 7, 8 songs, something like that, all cover stuff, like Robert O'Keefe and things like that. And I called Stubbs, which at that time in Lubbock was a pretty popular place for live music, and a very historic place. Like Stevie Ray Vaughan and Ian Moore played there all the time. So it was like, man, let's why not shoot for the stars? So we called Stubbs, and Harold Aiken was the owner. He was the guy who cooked the barbecue, and he was a steel guitar player also, and just tremendous guy. And he said, yeah, if you want to play a gig here, you got to come in on Sunday nights. We have open mic, and you can see. We'll take a listen to you and see if we like you. Like, all right, we'll be there. Cool, show up. We're not going to mark you down, just show up.
Right.
And so we didn't have a band name. We showed up on Sunday. We didn't even have a band name. We literally came up with West 84 right as we're walking in the door.
And where'd that come from?
I grew up in Waco, and there's a West 84 was the road going. You could go all the way straight West 84 all the way to Lubbock. Random stupid name. And literally as we're walking in, what's y'all's name? West 84 sounds good, you know. And
was it just West 84? Or was it Wade Bowen?
No, it was just West 84 at the beginning, and they and we had 5 members. We had keys and actually what we have now, keys and drums and bass and guitar, and then me playing acoustic. And we were the only band that showed up for open mic night on a Sunday. And of course, we told all of our friends, so we just packed the place. So we were awful and terrible and played like our 5 or 6 songs, and Harold goes, that's great, man. You guys sound awesome. You want to come back Thursday, play a gig? And we're like, great, awesome. And I'm sure it's only because we packed this place on a Sunday night.
What was the better feeling at that point? The moment that you took the stage and hit that first strum on the guitar and that first breath comes out of your mouth, or that moment when he said, that was great, please come back on a better night?
Well, I remember him saying, yes, you can come back. I don't remember the first strum.
Really?
Yeah. I was so nervous at that time, just clueless, and didn't have a clue what to really do on stage.
Right.
And but I still remember him sitting down at the table and chair and walking up to him going, is that okay? And him saying, I like it. You want to come back Thursday? And this was Sunday, so we had 4 days to literally prepare a show.
So that was the first almost easy grab when it comes to gigs. Call Stubbs, they're here in town, see if they'll let us play. Turns out they would. Turns out they like us. So now we're going to play Stubbs on Thursday night. What was the first, hey, we heard a little bit about you. Will you come play our place and pick a spot in Texas? You tell me. When did that start to happen?
I don't ever really remember much of, hey, we heard about you, come join us. Because remember, I went to school in Lubbock, so Lubbock's far away from everywhere.
Oh yeah, it is.
So what we built I got those other phone calls from bars in Lubbock and places in Lubbock and festivals and things in Lubbock as we grew and established something in Lubbock when I was in school there. But I soon realized when I moved to Austin after graduation that we were starting all over, that hardly anybody knew who we were, even though we were traveling a little bit outside of Lubbock. I mean, I'd spend every semester trying to convince my professors to let me out, that I would still do the work and still study and all those things so we could get out on Fridays and go play gigs. But I remember moving to Austin going, man, I'm starting all over. I'm having to rebuild all of this. And that's where the Wade Bowen and West 84 came from, out of that. And I was playing a lot of shows by myself. I would travel around in my car and I would play, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then like stay somewhere Sunday and Monday with like the bar owner or some friends I'd met in town, and then beg for $100 gig on Monday or Tuesday night. And I would go home about 4 or 5 days a month to my place in Austin. And that's how I made a living, and that's what I did for a long time.
I should turn back. If it turns red, she likes what I said. If it turns blue, I should leave her red.
What's your favorite memory over the past 15 years?
The Grand Ole Opry at the Ryman.
I can see that, because you talked about it earlier, about what a goal that was and what you thought the struggle would be to get there.
Well, in playing it, I did the Grand Ole Opry the first time at the new house, the new Opry House, and then we got to go back and play the Grand Ole Opry at the Ryman, and not only at the Ryman, but it was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So the light was like coming through the top windows, which are stained glass, and the way the light shines through those windows in the day, you can't see at night when you go to see a show there or anything. Or I guess you can't even see it unless you sit up in the balcony. You can't see it as a fan. And to just stand on that stage was, and the greatest thing about it was, the place was sold out because it was Fanfare Week. So there was not an empty seat. And then my mom and dad and sisters were all there, and my wife and my kids were there. And I only got to play 3 songs, which that's all you do at the Opry. And the final song I played was the band walked off, and I got to play Before These Walls Are Blue.
Oh, wow.
By myself Jessica sang with me and Gary played guitar. But, to have that moment in that room with that setting, and then have my kids in the crowd and my wife
Was that a full circle moment?
That was it, man. You could have just shot me dead right there. Done.
Wade, thank you for 15 years. Thanks for always being my buddy, man.
Man, I'm still glad to be
Appreciate the fire
here.
out of you.
Much love, Migo.
Let's go make it happen.
You're the man.